In this video, I'm going to cover what it takes to develop and train a death grip. The type of grip that when you get a hold of someone's wrist, or when you grasp your hands together and you pull them in and you take them down to the ground, the suffocating squeeze that you have, and they are unable to break it. They can't get away, they can't swim their arms in, and when you grab a hold of their wrist, they just cannot break away, and you have full control of their hand and of their body. And this comes from a specific set of exercises that you need to implement into your training on a regular basis. The first thing you need to do before we get into the actual solo exercises is you need to grapple and you need to wrestle a lot. This is where you begin to develop the sensitivity of the push and pull, how much to squeeze, how much to relax, and the actual functional strength that you use in order to grapple. So the first thing is grapple and wrestle a lot. That's where you begin to develop that grip first. The very first and the most popular exercise to develop the grip that most people do with a big mistake is farmer carry. Now, farmer carry by itself is a great exercise, but you need to modify it. There is a certain thing you need to implement in order to work the grip at the same time. So what most people do is when they do farmer carry, they just grab a heaviest weight they can, so, for example, dumbbells, and they just walk around with them. This is great if you want to work your forearms, you want to work your arms, and you want to work your shoulders, and kind of good functional movement still. But this does not build your strength in the grip. And the reason for this is narrow grip. I can carry a lot of heavy weight if the grip is thin. When I begin to expand my arm and grip wider, I won't be able to hold as much weight as if you just hold with a narrow grip. So the key to farmer carry, in order to implement and begin to work your grip, you need to open up your hands and do wider grips. Kettlebell is a better version of the dumbbells because dumbbells usually have a narrow grip and kettlebells have a slightly wider grip, so that's better. Another way is to actually take the dumbbell and rotate it and grab the thicker, the wider head of the dumbbell. Now, I won't be able to do this with the same weight that I can carry in the thin grip. This is a 40-pound. There's no way I can hold this and I'm going to drop it. So I need to come down in weight. So for this 20-pound farmer carry, by gripping the dumbbell on the thicker end, this is going to be far more beneficial to you to do farmer carry and work your grip at the same time. This is way better to build up the death grip than doing a narrow hold on a dumbbell. So instead of doing narrow grip, take a couple of dumbbells, a little lighter, grab them on the thicker end, and do your farmer carries this way. And this is going to work your grip far more than thin grip holds. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't still continue doing regular farmer carry with super heavy weight. That still works your upper body, your shoulders, your arms, and it's a good functional movement. Carrying something very heavy, walking front, walking backwards, side to side, still great movement. But if you want to implement a little bit more in order to work your death grip, begin to implement more of the wide open grip. That way you can work your grip more. You can also take a towel and just wrap it around the thin end of the dumbbell, and then that will give you a wider grip that you can carry, and that's going to work your grip as well as your arm a lot more than just narrow. So stop doing narrow holds for grip work and begin to implement more wide grip approach. Another great addition, old school exercise that I don't see a lot of people do anymore, and very similar to farmer carry with a wider grip, is called pinching plates. And what you do is you grab a couple of barbell plates and put them together, so that way the interior, or the inside of the plate right here, is on the inside, so you're not grabbing it with your fingers and kind of giving yourself a heavier weight to carry, because you want to be able to pinch with your hand and use your fingers and your hand muscles more. So you put them together and you pinch the plates. The heavier the better, and you just carry for as long as you can until failure, until your grip gives out on you, and then you switch your arms to the other side. Great exercise to also start to implement. The next exercise is also a fantastic way to build up your grip, and that's pull-ups. There are two variations you can begin to implement so you can begin to build up that fighter's death grip. The first one is also don't do narrow grip pull-ups. Those are easier to hold on to, and you can pump out a lot more pull-ups if you just increase your grip and open up your hand a lot more. So for that, you need a wider bar. Most pull-up bars have a narrow grip. If you can get yourself a wider pull-up like I do here, it's not too wide, but it's wide enough where it's not the standard narrow grip. That's going to increase your grip strength a lot more when you start doing pull-ups with a wider grip. If you don't have a pull-up bar that's wider grip, you can implement by putting a towel around it. That's going to increase the grip around that bar, and it's going to work your grip a lot more while you're doing pull-ups. So just put a towel as much as you can, wrap it around the bar, put your hands around it, and begin to do pull-ups. So now you're doing the pull-up while working your grip. You can also do pull-ups by grabbing the towel and doing pull-ups on the towel instead of the bar. So you take a towel, the thicker the better. You can even sometimes double it up. Throw it around the pull-up bar, grab the towel, and start doing pull-ups. Again, the thicker the better, but this also simulates a functional strength where you're grabbing onto someone's clothes and or wrist, and it gives you a little bit more of that surface tension where you are implementing working the grip more. And then you can implement isometric holds on a pull-up bar. So for that, all you do is you get a pull-up bar, you hold on to it, and you do it for time. And you hold on to it for as long as you can. Now, if the pull-up bar is narrow, again, use a towel and just hold on to the bar. If that's too easy, do one arm. Just simply get a hold of the bar and just do a dead hang. And just hold on for as long as you can until your arm and your grip gives up. And then switch to the other hand and just alternate back and forth. This time my right hand is resting, and then when this one can no longer go, I switch over and I hold on, and I just do that for time. And if you find yourself that's too easy, you grab a weight and you do one arm hold by grabbing the bar, having the weight to pull down. You can also do this with a weighted vest. And now I can no longer hold, switch, hold, and work your grip this way. And then you have probably one of my favorite exercises to work the grip and the squeeze is a heavy bag carry. So up to this point, we've isolated the grip, carrying things or doing isometric holds or doing wide grip pull-ups, but we haven't worked the squeeze while we work the grip, and that's the important part. If all you're doing is working the grip, then you're neglecting one part, which is the squeeze, pulling in, tying up, and just squeezing somebody and just suffocating them. Implementing this by grabbing the heaviest bag you have, picking it up, gripping right behind it by using a variety of different grips, either by doing a single grip, or you can switch in between, or you can just even hold and squeeze by working the squeeze more than the grip. So grab a heavy bag, squeeze, hold it tight, and grip, and then just walk around. Make sure you implement the walking around part, because it's going to add a little bit more functional movement to it. Put your head in there, begin to squeeze and push with the head at the same time. Simulate the grip when you're clinching somebody, when you're wrestling them. Hold for time. Switch your grip and walk around. Push the head. You can even switch to the other side. And when you can't hold on anymore and you've just worked and exhausted yourself, drop the bag, give it a bit of rest, pick it up again, repeat. This is a fantastic exercise to begin to implement because it's the squeeze, it's the grip and the squeeze and then just the switching, and it becomes really difficult to do the more you go on. But you got to be able to find that cardio and that muscle endurance and continue to put on that squeeze while changing the grip. Fantastic exercise to begin to implement. And last, you can begin using the metal grips. I often post about the metal grips. I use them all the time. These are supplemental. These are not something you introduce during your regular training session. This is something you do during downtime. Anytime you're watching TV, you're watching fights, you're in traffic, stuck on the car, traveling. Anytime you have any downtime when you're not actually physically training and putting in the time, but you're just sitting around and waiting for something, have a set of those where you can just grab them and do it for reps, do it for time, do it until failure. So you can just squeeze them for as many reps as you can until your arm gets tired, switch over, or you can just squeeze and hold for time or for until your grip gives up, and then switch over to the other side. Fantastic piece of equipment to work your grip anytime, anywhere. So how do you introduce all this grip work into your training? First, begin to switch certain exercises to a wider grip. So anytime you do a pull-up, try to wrap a towel, get a thicker bar. When you do farmer carry, grab it on the other ends, thicker ends, or wrap a towel around the thin bar so you have a thicker grip. And then second way is to do it at the end of your training session as a finisher. You add 5-10 minutes, however much time you have or however much time you want to add. Usually 5 is enough, and begin to incorporate grip at the end. Do the static holds, the isometric holds on the pull-up bar. You can even do farmer carry for time, as well as doing the heavy bag hold, squeeze, and walk around as you work your grip. So by doing this at the end of your training session, you can introduce it at the end of every training session. 5 minutes, just get some grip work done, because most of the time you'll be working your grip when you're grappling, when you wrestle, and you're ready. And this is just extra work at the end to strengthen your grip. And usually you would just pick one of these and do it for 5 straight minutes, giving yourself a break in between whenever your grip fails. Give it a little bit of time to rest and then pick it up again, or when you do static holds. So begin doing these exercises, begin to implement so you can begin to develop that death grip, that unbreakable grip that you need in fighting.